Well, we had some fun. We had a little bit of hope. We got to enjoy Dobbs Mania for a couple weeks. But it's back to reality for this season from hell. The season from hell is back. And it couldn't be the season from hell if we didn't get the hope, if we weren't provided the hope, even in this game tonight. But no, it's back. I proclaimed it after the Chargers game, and then things changed. But no, the season is over. Um, Vikings lose on Monday Night Football, 12-10 to the Bears. The Bears didn't even get a touchdown, and they beat us. Without question, one of the 2 or 3 worst football games I've ever attended in my life. Just a disgraceful performance by the Vikings. Where to begin? Where to start with the blame? Well, I mean, the number that stands out is 4 interceptions from Josh Dobbs. And he's lucky he didn't have a fifth. He almost threw a pick six at one point. One of the interceptions was should have been a catch and it was deflected, but Dobbs was absolutely atrocious. Like this was just like the Atlanta game. The comeback is memorable, and we'll remember that for years to come. I think we'll remember this horrid Dobbs performance for years to come. This goes. It's not quite up there with Josh Freeman. I mean, nothing can really be at that level. But it's up there. This was one of the worst performances by a Vikings quarterback that I've ever seen, and I can't 100, but I still cannot 100% blame him because Kevin O'Connell, what in the bleeping fuck are you doing? It's the same shit as last week. Obviously worse. I mean, Dobbs was way worse in this game, but for the second straight week, the play calling, it's like we're in an alternate universe. Josh Dobbs is not Kirk Cousins. He is not a drop back pocket passer. And yet, for the second week in a row, there was almost no running from Dobbs at all. There was like maybe 2 or 3 what looked like designed runs for Dobbs in the entire game. And surprise, surprise, they were both, I think, pretty positive plays. I don't even know. I'm sitting there just befuddled watching this shit because why are you doing this with this quarterback? And if that's true, at halftime I was like, you should just put Nick Mullins in because Nick Mullins is much more of like a pocket passer. Now, I'm not saying that they win the game if you put Mullins in. I mean, the offensive line was a fucking disaster tonight. The last Monday night game before this was the one where they absolutely dominated the San Francisco 49ers in the trenches. And in this game, at least on the offensive line side, they were terrible. The offensive line was absolutely terrible in this game. I don't know what happened. The Bears are not they are not a good defense. I have no idea what the hell. I have just no idea what I and this is the game into the bye. It's almost like they just took it off. This is like classic, thinking ahead to the bye. We're thinking ahead to going on vacation for a week. You know what? No one in the whole franchise should be allowed to take a week off. you've lost your fucking bye week privileges after that fucking disgraceful performance. And it was terrible right from the start. I mean, last week I think the defense was fantastic until the very last drive. I don't think the defense was good in this game at all. I think it's misleading because they gave up 12 points and didn't give up a touchdown. It's because the Bears are fucking a horrible team. And Fields is terrible, and yet you, of course, let Justin Fields beat you now. As if it isn't bad enough to let, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson beat you last week. At least they're looking like a pretty legitimate team now. But they were terrible. I mean, right from the start, like 9-minute drive to start the game. They couldn't get off the fucking field. Just absolutely embarrassing. And then the second drive, embarrassing too. They gave up what? I think that was the drive where they gave up like a 4th and 10. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, this is. You don't ever let Justin Fields beat you. This is just not. It's not acceptable. And yeah, they made some plays. Then really after that first couple drives, it was a lot better. But then what happens at the end of the game? I knew in my soul that they were going to lose that game on a walk-off field goal. I guess it wasn't technically a walk-off field goal. As soon as they got in field goal range, I got up out of my seat and left. I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and watch this shit. It's over. I'm not going to sit here and experience the slow death. I'm so fucking disgusted with this team. This was the kind of loss that just I don't have anything left for this season. I mean, this has been such a fucking cursed season. Going back to the fucking first game of the year. By the way, let's burn these fucking throwback jerseys because now we've worn them twice and they've lost home games to Tampa Bay and Chicago. It's over. Those jerseys are gone. They're never coming back. With fast, easy, reliable money transfers from MoneyGram. Get the lowest prices of the season on everything that's happened to this team this season. The turnovers just never stop. I mean, the turnovers were happening even when Kirk was in there. Now, of course, now they're happening from the quarterback a lot more. And it's like even like the game where they get back to 500 is the game where Kirk Cousins' Achilles gets torn. Like, and then you think, wait, maybe look at this now. We make this trade for Dobbs, and I'll stand by the trade. I still think it was a good trade. I mean, it helped get you 2 wins, and you basically got them for next to nothing. So it was still a good trade, but I mean, it's fucking over. It's like okay, we get these 2 wins with Dobbs. It's like everyone's getting excited. I bought in. I owe Case Keenum an apology. I said Josh Dobbs is better than Case Keenum ever was for us. I take that back. I apologize to Case Keenum for saying that because Case Keenum never threw up a game like this fucking bullshit tonight. And now, back-to-back weeks, you get basically walked off. I mean, in both cases. One by Sean Payton, a Sean Payton team, and the other by a fucking joke of a Bears team. And it's just like, and now you get and of course, it's the bye, so now I got to sit with it for 2 weeks before they go to play Vegas, and I don't know what the fuck's going to happen in Vegas. They're showing the highlight right now. 3rd and 10. Even that in that last drive, 3rd and 10. Maybe you're still going to escape, and then you give up a wide open pass that even Justin Fields can't help but complete. I got nothing left for this season. I really don't. We got what? We got 5 games left. I mean, they're still in the playoff position, but this was a hugely damaging loss for that because you lost a division game. Goodbye to the last. The door had slightly been opened again to maybe get back in contention to still have some hope for the division. That's gone again, and it's never coming back. And it's a hugely damaging loss because it's a conference loss. It was the easiest game left on your schedule, and you lost it. I mean, it's just a disgusting game. It's the worst loss, certainly of the KOC era. I mean, it's a ghastly loss. I can't believe it happened. I mean, but then it's like even this game, you get the hope. You get the after one of the interceptions. What was that? Then before from Dobbs, which I think that was the one that was the worst because he literally threw it directly to the defensive lineman, and it was basically intercepted by 2 guys. First it was the defensive lineman, he kind of bobbled it, and then it's picked off by whoever. But then you get a fumble. I think that was a strip sack, and then you drive and you get a touchdown. Finally, they put together a bit of a drive. They had the other scoring drive they had in the game. It was very much aided by the refs. I mean, legitimate calls, but I mean, still, the flags are moving you down the field more than the offense is. I mean, for God's sakes, I don't even know what the totals for the game were at halftime, but it's just a joke, man. But you get the hey, credit to Dobbs. He threw a couple of excellent passes to Hawkinson, one for the touchdown, and here you go. Suddenly you got the lead, and then you get the Metellus makes a fantastic play to knock the ball out on a Fields run, and hey, Anthony Barr picks it up, and we get the ball again, and a lot of people are already talking about the play calling after that because we got it. What was it like? We started the drive like it was definitely inside the 50. We were already on the outskirts of field goal range. Not that you want a field goal there necessarily, and we just don't even try anything. I mean, you just had your best drive of the game. You just had your first legitimate drive. You've got some momentum with your quarterback. You've got some momentum with your offense, and KOC chooses to not even try to do anything. It's like he's PJ fucking Fleck. We have one PJ Fleck in this town, and he's a fucking insufferable bastard. We don't need to have 2 of these guys in this town. KOC needs to be better. He's it's a real problem with KOC and some of his play calling when we have leads. I mean, they almost screwed up the Saints game because they got super fucking conservative in the second half. I mean, there's times to be conservative and there's times to play it safe. But it burned you against Denver. And it burned you again in this game. After that Metellus forced fumble, they never should have given the ball back. You get 2 first downs there, the game's over. You don't even need to worry about kick a field goal or something. Get a couple first downs, and the ball game is over. You don't have to worry about it anymore. It's sickening. This team is 6-6, and they have just at almost a historic level just given games away this year. They could be 10-2 right now if they just didn't just puke games away, almost unforced. The Bears didn't do a goddamn thing to win this game. It was again, it's just like so many of these games this year. The Vikings just gave it away. And I guess you know we'll see what happens after the bye at quarterback. Again, a lot of it is Dobbs, and Dobbs was fucking terrible in this game. But it's not just him. The coach is not giving him a chance to succeed with the game plan and the play calling. Justin Fields is a fucking terrible football player, but he's able to make play. He was able to make some plays in this game because their coach at least understands. Hey, this guy can run around a lot. Let's let him run around. We don't want to do that with Dobbs. Dobbs is better than Fields. I mean, or at least it's close. But he doesn't. Just let him sit back there in the pocket, especially in a game where the offensive line is getting fucking destroyed for some reason. Let's just keep having Dobbs drop back in the pocket, and Dobbs. The problem, saw a bunch of this in this game. He's very indecisive. He doesn't make quick decisions, and that gets him in trouble. But if you get him out in space a little bit, he doesn't have to make the decisions immediately. He can, and maybe if it's open, he can run. How many times in this game did Fields get to, get out in space and run around a little bit, or at least get a chance to kind of see the field and maybe make a play? KOC had no interest in letting Dobbs try to do that. So if this is just what he's going to do with Dobbs, then there's no need to have Dobbs out there. Whether that means Jaron Hall, give him another shot out there, and maybe he doesn't get a concussion on the second series of the game, or put Nick Mullins out there. I would have put Mullins out there at halftime in this game. So I can't 100% blame Dobbs. But the clock has struck midnight on Dobbs. We all got excited. The Pastronaut and all this stuff. The people dressing up as spacemen at the game. Like, it was a fun story for a little while. And I'm not saying like release him or anything. It's over. Like, he's not going to do for this Vikings team what Case Keenum did, or other times when backup quarterbacks have come in, like Brad Johnson, originally, or certainly not Randall Cunningham. Obviously, Cunningham is much more of an established guy, but I mean, or like Gus Frerotte, or some of these backup quarterbacks who over the years have really bailed out the Vikings in seasons. I mean, I don't know if there's an example of this where a guy is like comes in and maybe gets you a couple games and then it's just over. It's almost like maybe like when T-Jack, after he'd lost a starting job, then he came back and had a couple good games. I think that was in 2008, and then it just went completely south again really fast. I think that the trade they made to get Dobbs in here was a very good trade, because it did help you get a couple wins, but now it's also helped you lose a couple games but you probably would have lost them anyway, because I don't know who the hell you were going to have at quarterback. I mean, if obviously the plan, I don't think originally was to even have Dobbs be the guy. Jaron Hall got the start that first game after Kirk's Achilles tear, and we have no idea what would have happened the rest of that Atlanta game if Jaron Hall had not been concussed. early results were mixed. Maybe he would still be playing. Maybe he'd still be the QB right now. Maybe he would have played very well in that Atlanta game. Maybe we'd have gone 2-2 in the last four, or maybe we'd have gone 3-1 in the last four. I don't know. We'll never know. But again, KOC, I looked it up. 32 pass attempts, and I think it was 15 runs that weren't from Dobbs. Why are we passing 2-1 when your quarterback is whatever the reason? Why are you passing at a 2-1 ratio when your quarterback is struggling to the degree that he was? And I mean, close game the whole way. I mean, but I think KOC. It's tough because I think KOC is he's clearly a very good leader of a team. There's a lot of different facets to being a head coach, but and he's not good. He's his play calling. Boy, it's bad sometimes. And just his game planning, this seemed to be not just play calling, but game plan. Why are you taking Joshua Dobbs and turning him into a pocket passer? That's not what he is. I'm sorry. At best he can be an adequate pocket passer, maybe. But that's not what he is. It makes me worried about if we do go draft a quarterback. Any of these quarterbacks that are coming out in the draft, they're going to be guys who are going to make a lot of their plays with mobility, with getting out of the pocket. And yeah, you always have to be able to play from the pocket, but you need to be able to move around. And if the KOC's not going to let the next guy move around either, you're gonna screw whatever rookie we bring in here. But again, we didn't get. I mean, we didn't get much whole lot for the running game. Madison actually broke off. I think he had a 21-yarder. Didn't think he had it in him. But I mean, I think Chandler had 4 carries. Some of this was we didn't have the ball because we had so many short drives. Sure. I mean, we had 3 and outs, and we had turnovers quick into drives. It's just so some of it's they just didn't have. They didn't have they just didn't have the ball. But I was stunned how bad the offensive line played. How could this be the same team that manhandled the 49ers in the same spot on a Monday Night Football game? And obviously that was with Kirk, and Kirk was amazing in that game, but so I don't know. It's just a fucking terrible game. On behalf of the teams, I apologize to the nation. Anybody who actually watched that shit. Oh, that was literally one of the worst football games I've ever seen in my life. Even if the Vikings had ended up winning 10-9, it still was one of the worst football games I've ever seen in my life. Just unwatchable football. That's why, again, I don't think the Vikings defense was good in this game. I don't. I just think the Bears are terrible. And Justin Fields is bad. And yet you still let him complete a wide open pass for 36 yards on a 3rd and 10 to win the game. I'm not going to rip the defense that much. I mean, the defense has I think largely been much better than expected this year. I mean, I had a lot of hope for Brian Flores coming in here. there was some early struggles, and they kind of hit their stride. And they've had a lot of injuries too. Evans was out this week, and again, and Hicks has been out, and you know it's just the cursed season, the season from hell. I was really worried about that Hicks injury being kind of like the last, the straw that broke the camel's back. And I think the defense has been, overall, good enough to win these last two games, but they still choked at the end. I mean, they did choke. You don't get. I mean, it didn't help that Ryan Wright, who has been a fucking terrible punter this year, shanked a punt, leading to that final drive. But still, it's, don't let him even get into. Don't put the hammer down. It shouldn't have to be this way. Once in a while, we need to make. Once in a while, this defense needs to make the big play at the end of the game. Especially if the offense is just not going to be able to do it for whatever reason. It just makes me nauseous that we just blew this game. This was like, you had to win this game. Because everything that you're looking at, for what this team can do, it's like, okay, well, at least we still have this home game against the Bears. We can hopefully chalk that up as a win and go forward from there. Road games against Raiders and Bengals. The Bengals are not looking very good now without Burrow. The Raiders, who knows? The Lions are fading, but I mean, they're going to win the division because you've given them no choice but to win the division. You could have kept the Heat if you had taken care of business in these last two games and not choked at the end. Again, we'd be right there with them. We'd be a half game out of first right now. Instead, they've just, it's just this fucking cursed season, man. This is just so fucking disappointing. I can't believe they kicked another game away. They don't learn their lessons, man. Turnovers all year. I've never in my life seen a Vikings team turn the ball over like this. I've never seen it. It just never fucking stops. They don't learn their lessons. And KOC makes the same fucking mistakes. First guess mistakes. Like, what the hell was that? I mean, I didn't even mention it. What the fuck was he doing? I think it was the first drive of the third quarter. He's going for a 4th and like 7 around midfield. What the fuck is he thinking? Now, they almost got the first down, but why are you going for that there? And then the Bears got a field goal after that because you gave them great field position. And then there was another one. It was one of the I think it was Dobbs' interception number 3 was also a 4th down. They're going for. I think that was a little more understandable to go for it, and at that point you were trailing, so you can't just punt forever. But I mean, that first one where you went for the 4th down, first drive of the third quarter, that's just a complete panic move. Like, what are you even thinking in that situation to go for that in a tie game where your defense at that point is it's settled down and they're playing well? Punt the ball and live to fight another day, man. It's just you can kind of excuse some of this stuff when you're a rookie coach, but it's almost it's over a year and a half that he's been at this, and he ain't getting any better at some of this shit. And I like the guy, and I think he's a good coach, and I think he's clearly a very good leader the team, but as a like in-game coach, he's not good. He's not good. Situational football and just kind of I haven't studied Sean McVay as a coach, but I guarantee he ain't as conservative. He's never been as conservative as O'Connell is in some of these situations when he's got a lead. Like, but again, then he'll do something crazy like go for a 4th and 7, or try that fake punt in the Denver game. It's like he's got schizophrenia or something. Like what? Oh, this is just one of the most disgusting games I've ever seen. I can't believe it. I can't believe how bad this game was and how bad their performance was. And shame on them if they were just like looking ahead to the bye. Because now you got to sit with this for 2 weeks. And they're still the 7th seed at the moment. They could be tied for the 7th seed next week. I know the Packers play the Chiefs, so hopefully the Chiefs, show up. I think the Rams are also a game back, or a half game back. Um, it'll be easier once there are no more buys and everything is even. But yeah, because we're 6-6. I think the Rams are 5-6. Packers are 5-6. I think the Saints are 5-6, but we do have tiebreaker on them. But I mean, if this shit tonight is what we're gonna get for the next 5 games, what's the point, man? We caught some lightning in a bottle for a couple games with Dobbs. And again, I don't think Dobbs is what he is. I mean, I don't think any. I don't. I think some people were just so deliriously happy to not have Kirk Cousins that they were going way over the top and anointing Dobbs is like he's our new franchise quarterback. Well, no, he's clearly not. He can be your backup quarterback. If you want to, I'm cool if like whatever for next year. If hey, maybe you want to bring Dobbs back as your backup quarterback, or maybe your QB in while you have a rookie in waiting or something like that. That's fine. People were acting like Dobbs Dobbs was going to get like a giant free agent payday. I don't think that's going to happen now. Um, and I don't dismiss the possibility that Dobbs could still have good performances, but he can't have good performances when he's being presented the game plan. If he's just going to play from the pocket, he'll never have another good game for the Vikings ever. Because it's just not. He's just not that kind of guy. He's just not that kind of quarterback. And I would think Kevin O'Connell should know that, but he apparently doesn't know that because 2 weeks in a row now, he has tried to play an entire game with Josh Dobbs only in the pocket. I mean, there were only a couple of design runs or paired design runs last week, and maybe just 2 or 3 this week. He's not even giving him a shot. He's not good in the pocket. He's not going to be good in the pocket for sure if the offensive line is shit, which it was tonight. But oh man, what have I not talked about? I've been wallowing in my misery for 34 minutes. So yeah, quarterback, receivers, nothing much from the pass. Obviously, not much from the passing game. Oh, I didn't even mention the deep ball, shot. I forget what the score was at the time. I think we were down 9-3. That deep ball to Addison, where the defender fell down. Addison is so wide open he could have caught the ball and 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 walked very leisurely into the end zone if Dobbs simply threw a professional pass, any kind of professional pass. Instead, he threw it, you know, out of bounds, and Addison made an attempt at it, but he had no chance to actually come down in bounds with it. It's just like he's not like I miss Kirk Cousins. I, but it's the reality. It's like we're back to reality. It's like the Dobbs mania was fun, but the Viking season did end when Kirk Cousins' Achilles ruptured. It did. That at that point, that was a team that was, you know, won three in a row to get to 4-4, and yeah, they won two more, but it was fool's gold. They would have won those two games with Kirk. They probably would have won these last two games with Kirk, and we'd be sitting here 8-4 with 7 wins in a row, with maybe the MVP of the league, having an incredible season, backed by a improving defense, and instead what are we? I don't know. We're the epitome of like a mediocre football team, 6-6, and not even like fun to watch. I mean, you know, a bad offensive team with a good defense. Well, keeps you in games was sure as hell ain't fun. There was no fun to be had in this game. And then to lose it the way you lose it, letting Justin Fields, you let Justin Fields be the game-winning comeback hero because you leave a wide open receiver on a 3rd and 10. So, and we get to sit with it for 2 weeks. And I'll be curious to see what happens with the quarterback position going into that Raider game in 2 weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a different guy. I could see it being Mullins. I could see it being Jaron Hall, or I could see it being Dobbs. I really wouldn't be too surprised if it, with any of them. But um, I think the coach needs to grow some fucking balls and just get, understand that just because you had a whole offense built around Kirk Cousins, you can't run that same offense with everybody. And if you got a quarterback who is a limited thrower but can run around a lot and make plays, you have to let him be that. You can't mold a guy into being something he's not. And KOC doesn't seem to be able to learn that, because he should have been able to figure that out quickly last week. But he didn't. Cost us last week, cost us this week, probably cost us again. So, well, maybe the best thing is that there isn't a Vikings game for 2 more weeks, because they can't hurt me in this season from hell that is not going to go anywhere. And we're probably better off if it just ends.